Hubble bubble, toil and trouble. We're going to mix a brew. It's hippie soap time. Now I've had to scale up from 1 litre to 3 litres, so everything is multiplied by 3. No big deal. Remember, this is not science. These measurements do not have to be exact to the millimetre. They need to be close, not exact. You don't have to panic over that. Right, in here is 2 litres and what's left of the litre that was in this jug. Yeah? So this amount of liquid in here makes that up to 3 litres. Why didn't we pour that in there, I hear you ask? A tip. We'll find out. Right, hippie soap. Now I don't know whether this stuff settles in the bottom, but I think it's so thick it can't. Now this squeezes out, yes it does, this squeezes out through the nozzle. So it's got one of these press tops, you push it and then there's a little nozzle for it to come out. Right, so hippie soap, it says 31 millimetres. 3 lots of that is 90 and a bit. And given how exact it is, this little jug thing only goes up in 50s. So I want a little less than 100. The 100 mark is there. So you can see it's not a huge amount. And the line on this is almost impossible to see. This really was it came free with something, I'm sure. Now this is about the consistency of honey. So it is quite thick and gudgy. So a bit less than 100. Somewhere about there, I think. Bearing in mind it was 93, wasn't it? Yeah, 31 times 3. Now that has got to go in there. Have we poured it all out? No. If it was honey, would it have all poured out? No. So now you know what the jug of water's for. It's to rinse the container without losing what's in the measuring jug and without adding to the water or anything like that. What we've done is we've basically given that a bit of a clean so that it hasn't got all that stuff stuck to it. I forgot, it really is soapy stuff. I need a towel. I shall have nice clean hands at the end of this, won't I? So that was our peppermint. You can smell it already. It really is quite... If you don't like the smell of peppermint, this is not going to be for you. But given the smell of a lot of things that you might use in your grow room, you know, that is an incredibly pleasant smell. And apparently the bugs absolutely hate it. Right, so we now want 93 of this. Where's my line? Other side. Which is the tea tree. This is the one that apparently does the damage. Just under 100, about there somewhere. Right, so we pour that in there. Let it run off as much as possible. And then we get the rest of what's stuck to the sides in there out into this jug by just sort of running our hands round, and you're effectively diluting it with the water that was in this jug. Now, this water in this jug is part of the 3 litres. Yeah? So that's got that, most of the soap out. There's a few bubbles left in there. Right, now the next lot is runny stuff. So this can now go in there to make up the 3 litres. So you can see why I held that back now. It was to rinse my container to make sure I got as much of the soap out of the container as possible. Otherwise the next time you use it to measure something, it's not as accurate because there's quite a bit of the previous stuff left in there, stuck to the sides. And that wasn't part of the recipe, it wasn't part of the video. I made that up all on my own after a few coffees. Now, I've always said one job in the garden a day will get it done. This morning I had to water around the bonsai and the new plants, and I planted up those 4 plants that were still in pots. So that was the primula type plant that was bought when Hannah came down and helped me get some plants to start off with, the lily of the valley and the bugle that was given to me by Helen, a friend at the Wessex Orchid Society, and the other one was the salvia, which is a perennial, and it's a semi-shade. It doesn't mind some sun, but it doesn't want to be baking in the sun all day long, and it needs a reasonably moist area, not a sort of Sahara Desert jobby, so I've put that in as well. That was given to me by my friend Alan, who's another member of Wessex Orchids that's got some fantastic greenhouses that I have filmed in the past. Right, so now what we've got to do, we've got to add our rubbing alcohol. Now this is 125, so that's 125 times 3. Well, 125 times 2 is 250. So let's get that done. Let's get the 250 done, because I know that's a mark. Well, this goes up to 250. So that's 250, pretty accurate. So we'll get that bit in. So that's effectively 2 lots of 125. Get that in. And now we want 125, which will be 50, 100, 150. So halfway between 100 and 150 is 125. You judge halfway quite accurately. There we go. So that is the rubbing alcohol. And then that isn't accurate enough to measure the small amount of hydrogen peroxide. That is the cap off of one of my chemicals, which is the measuring cap that goes with that particular chemical, and that goes up 5, 10, 15, 20 sort of thing. And we want 3 lots of 3 ml, which is just under 10 effectively. So just under 10, because there is a marker on here that says 10. So we'll go just under the line, and which is about there. And that is it. That is everything. So I'm just going to get this out of the way. Get everything out. And then we put the sprayer together, which is just, in this case, it's just a matter of screwing the handle on and just tightening it up. And then this has got quite a long lance, you know, with a hose and a trigger, and you can adjust the nozzle on the end, and it's very, very stiff. I might need the pliers to do that, but we'll just give this a couple of pumps just to get it up to pressure, and then see how this comes out. Oh, we haven't shaken it up yet, have we? How silly. All that dodgy soap and everything is all just sat in there and not shaken up. Mixed in. So that should be enough, I think. Yeah, I was just going to say I ought to do that. I ought to release the pressure, didn't I, to do that? I was just thinking, because the soap is frothy, isn't it? Let's just give that another... Oh, I smell of peppermint. Gorgeous. Right, tighten that up again, up to pressure, and see how it comes out. That's quite a reasonable spray. Now I'll turn the camera round so that you can see me start, but I'm certainly not filming this whole process. I'm going to start over in this corner and methodically go round everything. There's going to be a lot of moisture around, there's going to be a lot of dripping on the floor, but at the end of the day, it's soap. It's not exactly going to get anything mucky, is it? So we'll be methodical, we'll start at the back, and I'm going to use the lance to get in underneath the leaves as best I can. I won't get everything, not possible, but I will do a pretty good job of getting the biggest part of it. All up the wall, all over the electric light switch. That'll do that the world of good, won't it? If you hear a bang in the distance, that's the fuse box popping. I suspect we'll be okay. I'm even going to do the paths. Now the strange thing with the mites that I found, as you saw, they were on the top of the leaves. They were not on the underside of the leaves. Now in the ancient runes and scrolls where it talks about mites, you have to bear in mind in the main it's going to be talking about red spider mites, not any other sort. But it does basically say they are prevalent on the undersides of the leaves, which is why you don't see them. And the giveaway is their webs. If they get, you know, if you get a bad infestation, then you will get to webs. But whenever I've discussed mites, if you get to the stage where they're making webs, you've missed them for a long period of time, because you should have got them a lot earlier than that. Right, that's that shelf done. Oh, the smell is gorgeous. This is the shelf I'm a bit worried about, I must admit. But if mites are in the grow room, they could be anywhere. They could be hiding on any plant. And it does seem a little pointless only doing some of it. Get up back here. Now somebody in the comments actually said, last time you did this, some plants didn't like it. I don't remember that. But then with my channel, there are an awful lot of people who seem to have a much better memory than me. Thank you for that. I don't remember this being a worry, if you know what I mean. I just remember using it and it seemed fine. Now it is remotely possible I might have to mix some more, but I hope not. I hope this is going to do the job. But if I have to mix some more up, so be it. I've got it. The only thing I will run short of is the alcohol and the hydrogen peroxide. I don't know whether you can walk in a shop and buy that. I don't think you can. I've always got it online anyway. You can get it an awful lot cheaper than going to a local chemist. Which is about the only place I think you might get that. But as I said, I don't think I've ever tried. I've always bought it online. And the chances are, if I have to have some more, it won't be urgent. And the chances are, I can get it on Amazon and I can contact Hannah, and she's on Amazon Prime. So she can order it for me, get it delivered here next day. You know, so if I do need some more, it should arrive pretty quick. If I need some more, which I'm hoping I don't. Hoping this is enough. Just looking back to you, and I haven't even checked that the camera's pointing at where I am. I'm just assuming. But you can see this is a good soak. I'm not mucking about here, no half-hearted stuff, it's a good soak. As I said, I probably haven't got the underside of every single leaf, but I won't have missed much. And the thing is, we will be going back to the hot box. Now, do I do the mounts? I'm going to do some of the mounts. I'm going to do the ones that don't seem to be doing that well, for whatever reason. And that could be little bugs. I'm not going to do that because it will soak in too much. So that's that. Everything over in that corner. So that's 2 shelves done and a few mounts. I will do that catlia in case there's any scale on it still. Those 2 don't need it. And then we'll come round here and I'll move the camera. If you're still watching this, I would imagine it's actually quite boring, but just watching me spray, because that's all I'm doing. Right, so the 2 mounts around there I'm not going to do. Now we get to the hard bit, because these plants over the back, to get to them, the lance has got to go through other plants and move. And it's very easy to knock things over. Lightweight pots. So I will try and get in here and do undersides first, as best I can. Get an awful lot on the glass. Get those undersides done first. I'm paying particular attention to plants that don't seem to be doing so well for whatever reason. And I remember the guy who put us onto the hot box, somebody at So Many Degrees North, and he didn't really know to any great extent which plants had the mites on, but he could tell by the fact they just weren't growing properly. You know, they were always having troubles, just not growing very well. Leaves going yellow and dropping off more frequently than they should be. All that sort of stuff. And, you know, I've sort of said if a plant's not growing that well, there will be a reason. You might not have found that reason yet, but there is a reason. It's in there somewhere. And if you can't think of it or see it, then all you can do is try different things. And this is one of those things, you know. A lot of people may well have mites and they don't know it. A lot of people may have plants with fusarium and they don't know it. And I'd say that is quite likely. Out of all the things that plants can have, that is probably in most collections in some shape or form. As I've always said, some plants live with it quite well until they get put under stress. And that's when it gets a hold and gets moving and starts doing more damage. What are we doing? Well, I don't think I've even used half of this yet. Oh, by the way, this doesn't keep. It does specifically say, mix up what you're going to use it. The active ingredients won't stay active long. So the idea is you get on and use what you've mixed up. Which is, there's a lot of chemicals that you use on plants that are that way inclined, you know, it always says don't store, if they can be bothered to tell you. Whew, getting a bit niffy in here now. I bet the humidity in here is going to absolutely rock it. Well, it's not a bad thing. And what you have to bear in mind is we're not dealing with an infestation as far as I know. What we're dealing with is some mites on some plants. Now that's all. So missing the odd leaf I won't miss a plant, but missing the odd leaf is not the end of the world, because we will be going back to the hot box. Right, I'll just move this back out of the way a minute. And this is the last area now, and the important bit is these 3 leaves. 1, 2, 3. Those are our benchmark leaves. Yeah? Now I'm going to do the cattleyas. I believe, I can't guarantee it, my cattleyas I think are now scale free. And the hot box has done that, because nothing else, they haven't been sprayed. I used to keep spraying the bugs that I saw, and that's a bit hit and miss, and it's a flipping good way of building up resistance as well, because you're not putting the systemic into the whole plant by making sure you spray top side and bottom side of every single leaf and the base and the top of the root system. If you're not doing that, you're not getting the systemic into the plant in full. Therefore, it's not up to full strength, is it? And if it's not up to full strength, it is possible for bugs to form a resistance. In fact, it's likely that they're going to form a resistance. And you don't want that, because then the stuff that you're using becomes redundant. You're just wasting your money. And they will breed resistant. As far as I know, if you get a resistant strain of, say, aphids, resistant to the particular chemical you're using, then when they breed, the offspring are resistant as well. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I read that in one of those ancient scrolls and runes. Whew. It's definitely getting nippy in here. Right, now we're round to here. I'll do these Derek's plants first. The one shelf at a time. These are a subject for that. A look at Derek's plants, because any newcomers to the channel don't know why these are Derek's plants and why they're on a separate shelf. That story won't have been told to some people, and it's a story that goes with that set of plants. I'm desperately now trying to keep this off the blooms, if I can. I don't know whether it would do any harm to the blooms, but if I don't get it on the blooms, it can't, can it? That's something I don't know, so I'll put that question out there. If you've got spider mites, do they get on your blooms, or are they only on the leaves? Given they are in the place they want to feed. It's impossible to do these without getting some on the blooms, but I'll try to keep it low. And then, come round the top here, these 2 plants with the blooms on, the tiger tail and the one very similar to it, have always been together. So the chances are, if mites are on one, they're on the other. And now we do our 3 leaves. That's it. Job done. I don't know how long that took, but it didn't take long. It's as long as this video, so we can have a look, can't we? Given that I was talking while I was mixing, where's the time gone on this thing? Oh, there it is. 24 minutes, and that included mixing and talking while I was doing it, which would be quicker if I wasn't talking, and not too much left over. I'm going to measure that in the jug, because if it's a litre, then I know next time I can get away with only mixing up 2. However, if it's less than a litre, for the cost of the ingredients, I just as well mix up 3 litres, hadn't I? So this goes down the sink. That'll make the sink nice and clean and smelling of peppermint. And yeah, that would have been a useless exercise with my small sprayer. It would have been here all day. The big one does the job. Now that's got it all over the place. It's all over the glass, it's all over the floor. So be it. Now what I'm going to do is put the circulating fan on double and my other little fan on circulating on double and shut this place up. And basically the humidity is going to rock it. It is, it's not too bad yet, but it will. But then we're only 19 degrees in here till the sun gets round. But I wanted to get this done early enough. See, if I'd done it when the plants were warmed up, it would dry so fast it might not have chance to do its work. So my theory is that these plants won't dry that fast until the sun gets round in about an hour's time. At which point it's got the whole of the rest of the day to dry these plants off. But I will get the air moving. Now, one thing I didn't say, the water that went into the sprayer and the stuff I kept back was lukewarm. It wasn't tap water. It wasn't RO water either. It was actually filtered jug water, so that there's not too much calcium in there to leave deposits on the leaves and stuff. So it wasn't RO water. I haven't got enough spare at the moment, but it was filtered jug water, and it was warmed up. I actually added some water out of the kettle to raise the temperature to lukewarm, on the grounds that it had to have stuff added to it. It went in a cold sprayer and didn't get sprayed immediately on all the plants. Don't spray your plants to that level, underside and topside, with cold water. That will do them no good at all. You can actually get cell damage on thin-leaved plants by doing that, so go steady. Right, so that's the Hippie soap treatment. As I said, I will come back to these 3 leaves. These are our leaves. At the moment they're dripping wet. But perhaps I'll have a look tomorrow morning with the magnifying glass and see if I can still see white dots. See, the problem is, you see, this stuff, with the pressure of the sprayer, you could actually wash them off, but they're not necessarily dead. All you've done is move them. I don't know that. That's a theory. There's lots of unknowns here, because, you know, this is, as I said, it's not science, it's a bit hit and miss really. But anyway, it should have given the leaves a nice wash and got a fair bit of the dust off. It may well have dealt with what I thought was mould, if it was mould, because they've now had a wash, and the alcohol in that mix should have destroyed the mould spores and any pathogens involved, should have done. That combined with the tea tree and the hydrogen peroxide, all active ingredients there. I don't think the peppermint has an active ingredient in it, but certainly the tea tree oil does. The alcohol definitely. We've used that on its own with the cotton wool buds, haven't we? So we know what that does. And hydrogen peroxide can kill things. I don't necessarily know that it kills bugs, but it definitely kills slugs and snails. They just melt. Anyway, so that was it. Short and sweet. Now I'm going to close this place up, get the fans on, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I might have a go at getting the strimmer out with the heavy duty line, which I haven't fixed in yet, and see how it attacks this ivy around the edges. And if it attacks it pretty thoroughly, I might carry on and do a bit. So I don't think we're going to have any rain today. The trouble is with those outdoor garden tools, it specifically says on every single one that you plug in, do not use in wet conditions. Because obviously anything that splatters can get into the motor. So only in dry conditions, and it's dry today. So we may have a go at some more stuff in the garden. We shall see. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by. Oh, I was well pleased when I mentioned the Hippie soap. Quite a few people remembered it, and some people went ahead and used it and said it worked great. This is good to know. You know, I mean, I got that from somebody else. I didn't make up that lot. And, you know, I used a video with a practical demonstration, which I found this morning and watched again. And I will put the link to that video, because it's not mine, but I'll put the link to it in my description under this. So that anybody who wants to go and watch the original, the company that did it, and the guy talking about it, you can watch that video, because that's where it all started for me. including the practical demonstration of spraying. It was basically the top of a pot that had the webbing and all the spider mites on it, and whoosh, 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 dead. That was the demo. Good enough for me. Right, see you next time. Thanks for dropping by. And I will do an update on both this. Tomorrow is the Project Orchids video. But as that doesn't enthrall everybody in my list of viewers, understatement, I might do a second video for tomorrow, but as Hannah's down this weekend, that might be saved up for Saturday because I don't normally film when Hannah's around. Hopefully we'll be busy outside, but the weather don't sound too good again. We shall see. How many times have I said we've had heavy rain forecast here and we've had none? So it might be one of those weekends where, you know, you get all the blue going across and the green bits and we don't get a flipping drop. I hope. We'll find other things to do if we can't get out in the garden. I'm not going out in pouring rain. I don't mind getting out between showers, but we shall see, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by. Hippie soap. Well, I thought it was a good name. Anyway, not everybody. A lot of people probably think, what the hell is he on about? Hippie soap. Well, if you don't get it, you don't get it. So, see you next time, yet again.